Good morning! It is time for a Sunday Sum Up, and I honestly feel a bit rusty. I don't remember how to do these. What do I talk about during a Sunday Sum Up? What happened this past week? I don't know, it's kind of a blur. Just a little, whew. Yeah, it was a bit rough. There was a lot of things going on this week. Some family stuff that happened, and then some little work emergencies. Reading wasn't much because I started school this week. So, I did finish Discovery of Witches, and I will give you a review of that today. I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of books, and they're all March books, so I'm a little worried about that because it doesn't bode well for the beginning of April. I'm prioritizing those TBR game ones because I'm not taking any more punishments anymore. I'm not going to take any more punishments anymore. Okay, so The Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness is the first book in the All Souls trilogy, but then there's also a book called The Times Convert, which is the fourth book, but I think it has different characters, maybe it's set at a different time. But we're reading this series for the Bookstar read-along, and it's like our concurrent series where we read one series, Mortal Instruments, 1 month, and then we read All Souls the following month. And Discovery of Witches was 5 stars for me. I absolutely love this book. It's a character development and story development and history development and magic development sort of book. And I just thought it was fantastic. I really love the relationship between Diana and Matthew, even though it's toxic. There are issues. We have issues. We know that. I still really liked the tension that was built between those two characters, and I really like Matthew. I'm just going to say it. It was so much fun to talk about this book with our Bookstar read-alongs group because we all had a lot of opinions, and most opinions were pretty positive, but there were definitely people who felt that the pacing was a little too slow for them, and Diana was a bit irritating in the beginning for some of the things she didn't do, or some of the ways she chose to live her life, and I thought that that was fun. Having those discussions was a lot of fun. And then our live show discussion just happened, so I will link that up here so you can check it out. It is full of spoilers, so I would only go and watch that if you don't mind spoilers or you've already read A Discovery of Witches. And that was a lot of fun. We had a great time discussing this book. We got into a lot of details about the details because this book is very heavily detailed. And so it's about this witch named Diana, and she's a witch who tries to stay away from her witch heritage because of some things that have happened to her parents when she's actually an orphan at this point. She works as a scholar in, is it Yale? Is she at Yale? I can't remember. Oxford? No, she's in Oxford when this starts. She's doing her work on alchemy because she's basically trying to prove that alchemists were doing science. It was still a form of science, even though alchemy, of course now is considered like a pseudoscience sort of thing. And so she recalls this really famous alchemist manuscript called Ashmole 782. I may be wrong. But what she realizes when she gets it is that there is a lot of magic imbued in this book. And she returns it right away because she's trying to avoid magic. But that sets off this chain of events that brings her into contact with other magical creatures. So there's mainly like witches, vampires, and demons. And they all are interested in this book, but none of them want the others to have it. So like the vampires don't want the witches to have it, the witches don't want the vampires or the demons to have it, demons want to make sure that they're included in this. And so it's fascinating because you get all these different perspectives from these different types of creatures. This is all set in the human world, but the humans don't know anything about it. So it's fun to hear this whole story from the creatures' perspectives. This is the kind of paranormal fantasy that I want to read. This incorporates science a lot. This incorporates history a lot. Things that I really enjoy. So if you're not as into an academic forward fictionalized book, it is going to be a little hard. It's going to seem a little slow at times. I did love every moment of it though. I'm so excited about where it's gonna go. I cannot wait to read the next book. I don't know why we have to wait a whole month between. Why do we choose this? Why do we choose to do this? I love when books make me feel that way because I'm not that way about series too much. I like continuing series, but I'm not ever in a rush to continue them. And this book reads quickly, even though it was 579 pages, my copy. I did pace it out quite a bit, so it took me a long time to read it, but every time I went to pick it up, it was a quick read. Absolutely a 5 stars, and if you don't mind academic forward, but also a little bit of a slow moving, but a lot of character development, I think you will love this. The characters are incredible. All the characters. I loved all the characters, even the bad ones. They did their job well. Okay, so as far as like a haul, I usually try to include any books that I have hauled for the week, and I did get a couple of books, but I want to wait on those until next week because I also actually got a big box of books from my friend Jez, who's unhauling them, and I haven't got a chance to open it or go through it. So thank you, Jezzy, I got the box. So next week I'll have a little bit of a mini haul in my Sunday Sum Up, and I'll show you what books I have received. So let's just talk about the books I'm currently working on because there are a lot of them. So I am almost finished listening to The Night Swim by Megan Goldin, and I am looking forward to sharing
my reading experience of that with you, because that was one of the audiobooks that somebody had recommended to me during one of my reading sprints, and the audiobook is really good. And then there's Travels with Charley by John Steinbeck. That one Mom and I started on a road trip adventure, and we have about an hour left to listen to. We're gonna finish that today. And so I know that I have not finished day 9 and 10 of my road trip vlogs, but I was struggling when I came home to want to do anything, and my week turned out to be really busy, way busier than I expected it to be. So time for editing just didn't quite happen. Mom's hoping to finish Nosferatu. We're hoping to finish Travels with Charley, and we'll include those 2 book reviews within our day 9 and 10 of the road trips vlogs. They'll be happening soon. I just want to get those done so we can just like tie that all together in a pretty little bow. So as far as any other reads I'm doing, I'm currently reading Ship of Magic. I made a little bit of progress on my reading sprints today, so I'm on page 342 of that. So, you know, not quite halfway, but I'm at least back to reading this, because during the road trip adventure, I completely put this down. Then the books that I started before my trip or on my trip and never completed. Split Infinity by Piers Anthony. I am on page 140 of this, have not made any progress. So this is going to be getting done because I need to finish it. And so I'll be working on this within the next week, as well as the Neverending Story, which I am on page 159. So I'll be working on that as well. Yeah, like all these books that I have started and made it a third of the way through, I have a lot of those. Then there's Marina by Ruiz Zafon. I did make it 100 pages into this, but I have not made it more. Another one that I'm like, oh, actually this one's closer to halfway. So I'm 132 pages into this one. This is a very fast read though, so I'll get this one done pretty quickly. And then I did just start Les Mis yesterday, and I'm trying to read 20 pages a day. That's my goal. I have read the first 20 pages, so, you know, like, that's it. I will not be able to finish this in April, but I'm going to make a decent dent. That is my plan. So those are all my books. There's a lot. There's a lot I'm currently reading. We'll see how it goes. I want to finish these out before I start my April books, because I got a lot of those. And it's already the 2nd of April. So these are my focus at the moment. Well, this one is going to take me some time, but I'm working on that actively, and these ones hopefully won't take too long. I felt like they were reading pretty quickly when I was able to read them. So that's it as far as my update for the week. Let me know in the comment section down below, what was your favorite read this past week? Or, you know, if you want to warn me against a book, let me know what book you hated the most this week. Be curious to hear what your experience reading for technically it's the last week of March. How did it go for you? I'm doing okay. It's just that the week got so much busier than I expected it to. Work was my first week back at school and trying to get back in the groove of that. And so it just, you know, reading took sort of a back seat. So that's it for me. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens next week, because I have plans. I have a lot of big reading plans. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.